Hey everyone, welcome to Car Pros. My name is Ryan, and today we're going to be showing you how to replace the thermostat in a 2002 Chevrolet S-10, and this also applies to the Blazer and the GMC equivalents as long as they're the V6, because that's what we're working on today. Now, before we get started, make sure you're wearing some safety glasses to not get antifreeze in your eye, and drop off your refuse antifreeze at a local EPA-rated facility. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump in. The next thing we're going to do is grab the upper radiator hose and squeeze it just to make sure there's no residual pressure and the engine is cooled. That way when we crack open the coolant system, it doesn't explode all over us and burn our skin off. So make sure that this has plenty of give just like that. We can also open our reservoir cap here. That's gotten hot at some point. We can also open our radiator cap once we're sure that there's no pressure in the system by squeezing that upper radiator hose. There we go. So on the passenger side, near the front of the vehicle, just above the frame rail, go ahead and zoom in. See that black piece jettisoning out there? That is the petcock. And there's normally like a black nut on the end of it, just there, that you would loosen and then coolant would kind of leak out of that hole on the right. But it looks like somebody's done the decency of just breaking mine off on this particular truck, so we're gonna have to do it the hard way and make a giant mess by taking off the lower radiator hose, which is located way over there. We'll go look at that later. If you have the plug attached, like you probably do, go ahead and just remove that and then it'll do a nice slow drain. But for me, we're gonna have to get messy and take off the lower radiator hose. So if that's why you're wondering that's why I'm doing that, that would be why. And on the other side of the frame rail, we can see the lower radiator hose just there behind the transmission cooler line. And it has one of those GM spring-loaded clamps on it, but we have a special tool that we can use to make our lives a little easier, and we'll slide that rusty hose clamp there back a little bit, and then we can get that hose off there and make a big old mess. So we should get to doing that. And as you can see down below, I'm about as well covered as I'm gonna get. It's just gonna make a mess. There's nothing I can do about it because the petcock is missing on my application, but it might not be missing on yours. So if it's not, count yourself lucky. And let's make a big mess. So to remove that, those pesky spring-loaded hose clamps, I did a whole video on this tool, which is a spring hose clamp removal tool. They're available on Amazon and a couple different other places. Mine's made by Snap-on, but you surely don't need one quite that expensive. And they all work about the same anyway. So I removed the battery and tray. That is not really necessary for doing this kind of thing, but it is if you want to film it, so I went ahead and removed it so you can kind of get a better grasp of what I'm doing. It does make working on a little bit easier, but I know there's a lot of people out there that say, you don't need to do that to get that done, and they're right, but why make it hard on yourself when you could just remove 3 bolts? There we go. And once the hose clamp is behind the actual barb on the radiator, we can go ahead and let it go. The barb's right about where the end of my finger is, because it's not actually holding on to anything at that point. And we don't want to remove, and we can't really move it too much because of these AC lines. So now we can wrestle this lower radiator hose off, which is going to be a lot of fun. And let it rip. Actually caught a lot of it. Wow. And we're gonna go ahead and let that drain out for a little while. We want to just make sure that the engine is out of coolant. We can bend that lower radiator hose down too, and that'll help kind of gravity press or gravity flow the coolant out. All right, in order to get the thermostat out, we have to remove a couple of things. This is made of metal here, so you can't really bend it out of the way. Your thermostat actually lives right in here, and you gotta take both of those nuts off to get at it. And obviously, to remove this out of the way, you have to remove this, and you have to remove this hose clamp way back here, which involves taking off our intake here that goes into the throttle body. So we have a little bit of work ahead of us, but honestly, it's not too bad. It's in a pretty okay place. And then this will just remove, this will just pull straight up, and then you can get access to that nut there. But it's not too bad, I promise. This is pretty doable. So let's start by taking off the intake. All right, we can remove this 8mm hose clamp, or just loosen it. just like that. And then twisting this wing nut to the left. It's like a plastic wing nut. It's a little funny. That's okay. Remove that. Now we can remove our intake here. Take off this evap tube and just pull straight off. Or it's probably a crankcase pressure tube. Anyway, you can lift it up like that. It comes off for us. Now, it's important at this stage of the repair not to put anything down here in the throttle body. So what we can do is take a shop towel and just kind of shove it in there just to make sure. There's a throttle plate, but there's a bypass right around it, the corner of it as well. So putting something in there for a preventative measure, always a good idea. Now this wire and the throttle cable are held to this plate using some body clips. So a body clip puller makes short work of them. You could also use a standard screwdriver to accomplish the same thing. It's like that. Alternatively, you could leave them connected to this bracket and then just remove the whole thing, but I don't want to do that because it'll make filming more challenging. Here we go. Then we can take a 10mm socket and remove this nut that holds the bracket in place and prevents the thermostat housing tube coming out. There's also one on the top right here. Go. All right, there's a thermostat housing, and we can go ahead and remove this heater line out of the way. And since it's made of rubber, it kind of just will hold itself. We can pull that mount straight up and off, and then we need to remove these bolts. And those nuts are both 13mm, and you're going to need a deep well socket or wrench to get that off of there. Actually, the stud came out for the nut. Well, yeah, you know what, that's fine. That works too. There we go. This one had a similar fate where the stud came out instead of the nut off the stud, so... Oh, that's so funny. You know, this whole time I kind of thought that this was a nut on a stud, and the nut would just thread off the stud here. It's actually its own bolt. So imagine the bolt looks like this. So that's actually not a nut at all. It is actually a bolt. It just happens to have a different thread stud coming out the top. That is fascinating. This next part's pretty easy. Now, when I first started this job, I thought we'd have to remove this hose clamp and slide that off there to get the top of the thermostat housing off. But since it's attached to a rubber line, we can actually just bend it up and out of the way, and it won't do any damage to that line if you don't do, you know, a terribly huge bend. And then we can reach in and remove our thermostat. It comes out fairly easily, and we can go take a look at that. So you can see this is our original thermostat we took out of the truck. It seems okay, but we're gonna go ahead and replace it anyway with this new unit from Gates. It has 195 temperature thermostat. I have left the link down below in the description to this exact part, and we can go ahead and compare its relative size and general shape. Now, if this one's way bigger than this one, it's not gonna fit. So we want to make sure that they're similar enough to where the application is correct. But this one's perfect, so we're gonna go ahead and put it in the car. So we're going to clean that mating surface with some carburetor spray, because we want that to have a nice seal. We're also going to clean the hose side of it as well. There we go. Now we can drop in our thermostat. Make sure that sits in its home nice and flat like this one does. And we can go ahead and put our upper thermostat housing back on. Our new thermostat installed, we can go ahead and install our bolts here. When you're getting these bolts in, make sure you're not disturbing how the thermostat sits in there, because if you put this on and the thermostat is slightly off or not on exactly the way it needs to be, you'll absolutely have leaks and you'll end up doing the job again. So You don't want to do that. Go ahead and snug those down nice and even. So the seal sits properly. There we go. And we can reinstall our heater hose holder like that. That's the way that should look. Very cool. And then we can reinstall our bracket here that holds on our throttle cable and this wire here. Go ahead and tighten these nuts on this bracket up. There we go. Alright, we can go ahead and reinstall our intake hat. And that's kind of interesting because it kind of goes on one side and then like pivots into place like this. There we go. Make sure that lines up, that lines up. Perfect. That's what that should look like. Wing nut here goes on the far side. I'm not sure why I didn't just use a regular bolt, but maybe that's more aesthetically pleasing. Could be. Don't forget this tube here that goes on the back side of the intake like that. That one just there. And then we need to tighten that 8mm. There we go, nice and tight. So now we can reattach our loader radiator hose now that our system is more or less completely drained. Go. That back on, there we go. Now when replacing your spring-loaded hose clamp, make sure that your hose clamp is behind the actual barb. You can feel it not exist, get kind of bigger, and then shrink down a little bit. You want to be behind that barb surface so that way it'll retain pressure when this thing gets hot. And then we can connect our reservoir tank back up, our blow-off tank there, and now we're ready to fill this thing. And once again, fill up our cooling system. Replace our radiator cap. Just like that. And we're all done. So that's how to replace your thermostat in an O2 V6 S-10. There's really not a ton to it. Although I will say, if you want to remove the radiator cap when it is cool and turn the engine on and let it warm up, and that thermostat is going to activate and fill up more areas of the engine, you might see that level drop. And you want to fill it up in real time. You can do it that way too, or what you can do is run the engine until it's warm with the cap on, then turn it off and let it cool, then remove the cap, and then add some more antifreeze or water, as long as they're in equal parts. Or if you get the pre-mixed green stuff you find at Walmart, AutoZone and stuff, that'll work just fine too. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.